Welcome to the Marriage Success Podcast with Dr. David Stevens. The purpose of this podcast is to highlight biblical principles for building healthy marriage and family relationships. Dr. Stevens is an author, seminar leader, and relationship coach to married couples and singles in the dating game. To learn more about Dr. Stevens, please visit marriagesuccess.org. But now, let's join Dr. Stevens for today's edition of the Marriage Success Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, David Stevens. In this podcast, I will be reading an excerpt from my book, Master Keys to Marriage Success. We'll get started after this important announcement. Hello, this is Dr. David Stevens with your marriage success moment for today. Love is patient and kind. According to 1 Corinthians 13th chapter, verses 4 through 7, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. And this is your marriage success moment for today.
This message was brought to you by marriagesuccess.org.
You're listening to the Marriage Success Podcast with author and seminar leader, Dr. David Stevens.
Welcome back to the podcast. In this podcast, I will be reading an excerpt from my book, Master Keys to Marriage Success. More specifically, I will be reading an excerpt that's titled 7 Keys to Effective Step-Parenting. Let's get started. Keys to Effective Step-Parenting. Step-parenting can be very stressful for many couples, especially in the beginning. If certain issues are not addressed early, the marriage could be severely damaged. Therefore, if you marry someone with children, especially if one or more of the children will live in your household, I strongly encourage you to have a candid discussion about parenting issues with your spouse before you are faced with parenting issues that could fracture your marriage. As you try to mold your blended family into one cohesive unit, consider the following tips. They may help you work through any tension and develop a stronger relationship with your spouse and stepchildren. Number 1, don't let the children destroy your marriage. You and your spouse must be committed to making your marriage work, even if the children create new challenges in your life. And believe me, new challenges will come. Solidifying a blended family is not easy, especially if your stepchildren openly or secretly envision having their natural parents together again. For that reason, as a step-parent, you may be considered an outsider and the enemy who is keeping their parents apart. To help combat some of the problems typically associated with blended families, you should consider developing a support system of counselors, relatives, ministers, and other couples who are experienced step-parents to help you work through some of the challenges that may lie ahead. Number 2, establish guidelines early. Before parenting conflicts arise, you and your spouse should privately sit down and develop parenting guidelines that both of you feel comfortable with. After you develop guidelines, you and your spouse can present a unified front when addressing discipline issues with your stepchildren. This is imperative because stepchildren frequently attempt to separate their natural parent from their step-parent to negotiate a private agenda. Number 3, hold children accountable. Not only should guidelines be developed for your stepchildren to follow, you should also establish penalties for breaking those rules. That way, your stepchildren will know what to expect when rules are broken. God used the same principle in the Garden of Eden when dealing with Adam. Please read Genesis 2, verse number 15 through 17. You and your spouse should also have the freedom to lovingly discipline your stepchildren when rules are broken, because being a step-parent should not minimize your authority in your home. Please discuss this matter with your spouse because some natural parents disagree with this idea. Number 4, don't let others undermine your parenting. Input from others can be helpful, and I think it would be wise for you and your spouse to consult the natural parent of your stepchildren when certain issues arise. However, because your stepchildren live in the home with you and your spouse, the two of you should have the final word concerning day-to-day child rearing responsibilities. Number 5, exercise patience with your children. Don't try to force your stepchildren to call you mom or dad. If you do, you may be asking for trouble. This may be especially disturbing for the stepchildren if they have already established a strong bond with their non-custodial natural parent. Instead, make an effort to lovingly nurture your stepchildren in a way that comes naturally for you. Set aside time to visit with them individually and give them an opportunity to talk and freely express themselves. Encourage your spouse to do the same thing with the children. When you visit with your stepchildren, listen to what they have to say, and listen for what they don't say also. If your stepchildren show signs of anger, let them vent. They could have erroneous thoughts about you that need to be discussed. By letting them vent, you may find clues to helping the family transition easier. If you let relationships develop naturally, you may be surprised one day when they voluntarily call you mom or dad or introduce you to their friends as their father or mother. Number 6, treat the children right. Stop focusing on the fact that you are not the natural parent of the children. One of the best ways to begin this process is to work at not calling them stepchildren. If you begin to treat them with love and respect while supporting them, encouraging them, and mentoring them when they need guidance, the bond you develop with your stepchildren can last a lifetime, as if you were their natural parent. Always remember, children are usually drawn to adults who appear to be genuinely concerned about them. Number 7, honor and respect your spouse. Pleasing God should be your first priority in life. After pleasing God, you should strive to honor, respect, and please your spouse. As your stepchildren witness the kindness you show their natural parent, they will likely develop positive feelings toward you. This may be especially true if they've witnessed their parent being mistreated or abused in a previous relationship. Lesson summary: keys to effective step-parenting. Number 1, don't let children destroy your marriage. Number 2, establish guidelines early. Number 3, hold children accountable. Number 4, don't let others undermine parenting. Number 5, exercise patience with children. Number 6, treat the children right. Number 7, honor and respect your spouse.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. If you would like to hear Dr. David Stevens in person, he conducts seminars and does keynote speaking for special events. Dr. Stevens is currently offering a free seminar to churches in the metro area of Birmingham, Alabama. This free seminar can be tailored to address the needs of couples, singles, and manhood mentoring events. To book a free seminar at your church, please visit marriagesuccess.org for more information. When you visit the website, you can purchase books by Dr. Stevens, which include Master Keys to Marriage Success, Manhood Challenge, and Dating Game Pitfalls. To book a free seminar or to purchase ebooks and paperbacks by Dr. Stevens, please visit marriagesuccess.org. You can also reach Dr. Stevens by email at dstevens@marriagesuccess.org. Thanks again for joining us on today's podcast, and remember, love can last a lifetime.